Have you ever wondered what has happened to the United States and its once vibrant culture? Have you ever wondered why a virtuous American culture has been in decay for over 60 to 70 years? The book Deus Ex Machina, God from the Machine, explains how foreign belief systems have been imported into the United States by foreign intellectual agents to be used to fundamentally transform the most prosperous and free nation in the world into a typical third world country. Learn how the progressive academics, progressive activists, large corporations, and the mainstream media have become appendages of the federal government, a Praetorian Guard, and an extension of the political vanguard class. Deus Ex Machina exposes the cogs of the machine that progresses our civil society to chaos and subjugation. Get this tool to educate others and illuminate the truth on the battlefield of ideas. Let's make a difference. Get Deus Ex Machina, the progression of secular socialism, from Amazon.com and Lulu.com today.
You are listening to the Lanterns Radio Network, where Americans come together to illuminate the truth. Turn it up loud and proud until the knob breaks off. Lanterns, illuminating the truth.
Are you getting a TV picture now, Houston? Neil, yes, we are getting a TV picture. You're in our field with you now. Okay, ready for me to come out? All set. Okay, I'm on the top step. It's a very simple matter to hop down from one step to the next. You've got 3 more steps and then a long one. Okay, I'm going to leave that 1 foot up there and okay, and stand about the 4th rung up.
Roger that. 10 miles, he's back on my nose. Fox 1 again.
And we say to our nation tonight, we say to our government, we even say to our FBI, we will not be harassed. We will not make a butchery of our conscience. We will not be intimidated, and we will be heard.
Lock him up. Lock him up.
Well, I thank you for joining me on the battlefield. Chris Pilier, Lanterns Radio Network. Got a lot to cover today, and I'm so glad that you're able to join us. And we've got some great news coming up. And Lanterns Radio Network, tell you what, folks, there's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about that tonight. And what's the next step? That's the big question. There's a lot of people out there that have been, I guess, a little bit disenfranchised with the election of Donald Trump, and it's understandable. I mean, you might have had someone that you rallied behind during the primaries and didn't get that person, but it is what it is. Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and or at least the president-elect. And unless there's some kind of shady shenanigans, which I don't expect from the progressives, we'll be having to keep an eye on Donald Trump like we did other presidents. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, and most importantly, we're going to talk about where the future is for Lanterns Radio Network, which, I tell you what, folks, every single day I meet more and more people that we have like minds with. And what we're going to do, we're going to join forces with them, because that's what's going to save the day. And so in the process right now, I'm actually trying to get up our Facebook Live feed. Computer's running a little slow. If you hadn't heard, just had a little bit of Twitch there. So now I want to make sure I give you the best quality show. So if the Facebook Live stream does not work, well, we'll just do it on Spreaker. You can check us out, Spreaker.com. Do a keyword search for Lanterns Buzz. And you can check us out there. So stick with me through the break. We'll be right back after the short pause to discuss Where do we go next? Lanterns Media Network. We'll be right back. Short break.
We're here to fix the machine.
Battlefield Live.
You're listening to the Battlefield Live with Chris Pilier from Lanterns Radio Network, the Battlefield Live radio program. I want to thank you for joining us on the battlefield today, and it's great to talk to you. I've been, gearing up all week, it seems, to be able to do this show. Been working with a lot of great patriots out there, and if you want to check us out, folks, we're actually right now live on Facebook. Check out facebook.com/LanternsBuzz. We'll have the live feed up there. And you can also check us out on Spreaker at Spreaker.com. Do a keyword search for Lanterns Buzz. Most importantly, make sure you go to the website, lanterns.buzz, and sign up. It's free, real easy. Just click the login link at the top of the website, and you can get in. And believe me, there's a lot of great things to come, a lot of great news to come that we cannot mention yet. But we do have some great news today, and I think you all are going to be pleased if you are a part of the movement to try to restore American exceptionalism, and so there's so much to talk about today. One of the things that I see in the news right now is Brian Williams has come out and said fake news has swayed the election. Now, I would ask you, what do you all think about that? Because quite honestly, I agree with Brian Williams. I agree with Brian Williams, and you see, Brian Williams, I guess he's been looking in the mirror. Because the bottom line is the fake news has inspired a lot of people to stand up against the mainstream media, the fake news. And it's interesting how they call it fake news. News is just news, right? You have news, and then you have editorial, right? So this idea of fake news, I really don't get it. But the bottom line is that the American people have had enough of the establishment. And Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, is a reflection of that frustration. Now, one of the things that I've talked about a lot on this Battlefield Live radio program, as well as communicated through Lanterns Media Network, is that we have some serious challenges. And the challenges, for the most part, have to do with the fact that we have a progressive movement. And that's not exclusive to the Democratic Party. There's progressives in the Republican Party as well. And the progressives wish to perpetuate a democratic movement, quote unquote, or a democracy spring, if you will. And what that means is they want populism, right, to reign. This idea of populism that Donald Trump has keyed into, it's really, really dangerous. And one of the things that I get concerned about is that when you have, a guy that goes into the office and he seems to be able to make deals, right? He's always talking about making deals. That's great. I want a president that can make good deals, as long as they're principled and they're within the confines of the Constitution, right? And look, the guy hasn't even gotten into office yet, so we do have to be fair. We want to get him and let him get in office, and this typically happens at the very beginning when you have a president-elect that is working alongside of a lame duck president, and they're waiting for this transition of power, the most peaceful transition of power in world history taking place in the United States, and it's a testament to our founders, as well as as what our documents, our federal documents, the Constitution has enabled. So as all of this is taking place, and this is typical, you see a president-elect going out and kind of pandering, if you will, to a lot of people. And look, some of this I think Donald Trump is doing what Donald Trump does, right? He's kind of shoving it up people's faces, the people that kind of gave him a hard time in the primaries. I mean, it's kind of obvious, and it's kind of troll-like, which is part of this alt-right movement. That's what they really love about Donald Trump is he kind of shoves it in people's faces, and whether you like that or not is I think it's immaterial. But the most important thing that we have to recognize here is that this democracy movement, this populism, if it stands and that's the way that he governs, well, you're going to hear a lot from me. You're going to hear a lot of patriots out there that are going to be very vocal about the way that Donald Trump governs. And I'll give you an example. This whole climate change thing. Some people are saying that are big Donald Trump supporters. They say, oh, he's just doing this to kind of, mend some, trying to work some deals, right? He's just keeping his mind open, right? I heard an interview with Chris Wallace and Donald Trump said, I'm just keeping my mind open for everything. Well, if you are principled, you may talk to people that don't agree with what you believe in. You may talk to people that have different views, but you don't keep an open mind to things that go outside of principle, right? So this idea of trying to maybe entertain the climate change people out there, that to me is populism. Donald Trump represents a lot of other politicians, at least the way that he started to operate as president-elect. Barack Obama did something very similar, right? Now, once he got into office, he governed completely different. If you look at the contrast between his first term and his second term, you'll see that he governed completely different. Now he's in a full sprint to the left, right? Because he doesn't have to worry about any more elections. I mean, the lame duck period is arguably the most dangerous period in the president's term because he doesn't have to worry about the electorate anymore. The Democratic Party no longer has to worry about the electorate anymore. So he can go about working throughout during this time with all the excitement with the new president-elect. And he can go out and make these massive increases in regulations and things like that. So when Donald Trump is now, kind of going out and trying to figure out who's going to be in his cabinet and so forth, we have to kind of keep an eye on the other guy, right? We also got to hope that Donald Trump keeps an eye on him in a way that he reverses some of these regulations that Barack Obama's putting in place. Let's not fool ourselves, right? The regulations that are being put in place right now by the EPA and other agencies like the EPA, these regulations that they put in place are unconstitutional. And I've said this on many occasions. The executive branch does not have the right under our Constitution to create laws. That is for the legislative branch, right? Article 1. So the fact that we have an executive branch, and this is not under just Barack Obama. This has been going on for quite a while. I think, what was it? Who was it that started the EPA? Was it Nixon? I forgot who started the EPA, but the bottom line is these regulations that the EPA puts out are laws. We call them regulations. We can call it whatever we want. The fact of the matter is when they write one, people have to follow it, or they pay a penalty, or they get arrested. I don't know. But the bottom line is that this is not a constitutional act by the executive branch. They don't have the ability, as defined by the Constitution, to write laws. So these are the type of things that we need to talk about now. And the point that I've been making over and over and again, and the one that I want to stress again tonight, and we're going to segue this information or this discussion into the discussion we have here right after our first break, is that there's a lot of opportunity right now. And let me explain. There's a lot of people out there that are never Trump, right? A lot of people that are never Trump, and they could be Democrats, they could be progressives, they could be Republicans, right? They could be conservatives. You can look at it from a party standpoint or an ideological standpoint. The fact that there's a lot of people that don't like Trump, and they're going to be very critical of Trump. Now, there's certain people we can work with and certain people we can't work with. Quite honestly, if you identify yourself as a progressive, for the most part, you agree with a lot of the things that Donald Trump has been posturing himself, I guess you could say. the populist aspect of it. You can I guess identify as a progressive with the means to an end tactic. Populism is progressivism. Nationalism is progressivism. Conservatism is, well, it's not either of those. So the point I'm trying to get at is that if you're a conservative and you're concerned about Donald Trump as I am, there is a lot of opportunity in that. Because there's people out there, at some point, they're going to get frustrated with Donald Trump that are never Trump or they're Democrats, liberals. And you can stand next to them and say, I agree with you, the fact that Donald Trump is executing powers that he should not execute. That he's doing things that he's not supposed to do because the Constitution doesn't allow him to. That's when you get an opportunity to talk about solutions. At the same time, when Donald Trump does something that supports the Constitution, or he operates within the confines of the Constitution, and he shows resolve, and he shows prudence when it comes to executing his power within the executive branch. We have to applaud him when he does that. The fact of the matter is, it's not about Donald Trump. It's about the presidency. It's about the Constitution. And that's what we have to unite under. There's a lot of people that are really, really excited about Donald Trump. I'm excited about the idea of something new that possibly could bring us back towards what made America great, quote unquote. But we'll never know how to get back to where America was great if we don't know what made America great in the first place. So let's do this. We're going to take a quick break, folks, and when we come back, I got some great news, got a couple special guests. So stick with me on the Battlefield Live radio program. Chris Pilier, Lanterns Media Network. We'll be right back after this short break.
Radio Network on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, Player FM, YouTube, and other social media by searching keyword Lanterns Buzz or Lanterns Radio Network.
So first let me say that I share the concern of the left over our new President-elect Donald Trump. I never thought I would even say the words President Donald Trump. But most of our fear is the concern with the executive branch. I think that's the thing that we can relate to. We both, left and right, people that are really truly looking for a solution in the country. And this executive branch has been expanded greatly over the years and offers a huge sword that could be used to swing at the American people by the person in that position. Doesn't matter who it is, Donald Trump or Barack Obama or whoever, Bernie Sanders. I recognize the fears of the left and the new president, as he will soon wield the much expanded power that Barack Obama and his predecessors unleashed. Now, when Barack Obama was elected, okay, I was greatly concerned as the left is. So if you're listening to me and you're the left, I'm speaking to you.
You have impacted with the arm of the chair.
No, Mr. Spock. I meant, what happened to us?
That we have yet to ascertain.
Lincoln died 3 centuries ago on a planet hundreds of light years away.
More that direction, engineer.
Thank heaven.
Mr. Scott, there was no deity involved. It was my cross-circuiting to be that recovered them.
I'm just as concerned as you are. I was concerned in such a way that I wrote an entire book about how the progressive movement has pushed to replace the American culture that has embraced individual liberty, the rule of law, equal justice under that same law, property rights, and the free and open society to debate ideas.
I had a wild neighborhood, I gotta tell you, because my mother's Puerto Rican and my father's Negro, and we lived in a real big Jewish tenement building in an Italian neighborhood. Every time I go outside, the kids say, "Get him, he's all of them!"
My fear was that the nation was being pushed towards a totalitarian socialist state, much like you fear. All the people that are coming out and saying they are fearing Donald Trump because he's a quote-unquote fascist or like Hitler, they're fearing socialism much like I did in 2008.
It's a different type of socialism. What I learned in this exercise is that the progressive movement was not solely an extension of operations of the Democratic Party, but rather a part of a dialectical expression within a society in class conflict that offers a similar counterpart. The one that you fear, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal, the alt-right.
We walk down the street and you'll see like a group of black dudes walking. Not just any old black dudes. We talking, thugs. Talking, be some thugs. And in a group, they got like one or two, sometimes as many as 3 white guys to be with them. You seen this? Well, let me tell you something about those white guys. Those white guys are the most dangerous motherfuckers in them groups.
You are listening to the Lanterns Radio Network, where Americans come together to illuminate the truth. Turn it up loud and proud until the knob breaks off. Lanterns, illuminating the truth. Battlefield Live.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
Thank you for sticking with me on the battlefield. Chris Pilier, Lanterns Radio Network. Got a ton of stuff to talk about. So if you haven't yet, make sure you check us out on Facebook Live. You can check us out there at facebook.com/LanternsBuzz. You can also check out our website at lanterns.buzz. You can see all of the different archives that we have there, as well as on our Spreaker page. Go to Spreaker.com/user/LanternsBuzz, or just make it easy and just type in LanternsBuzz. You'll find in everything. #LanternsBuzz. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, where else? Player.fm. We're everywhere, folks. Just check us out. Just do a keyword search for Lanterns Buzz. You can actually do that in Google, and you'll be surprised all the places you can find it. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Lanterns Buzz, as well as you can follow me at Paul Revere again. And with no further ado, I wanted to make an official announcement tonight that we have cobbled together a pretty doggone awesome coalition. And we've done that with the help of a group called Madison's. And with us on the phone right now, we have Crystal McCann from Madison's, and we also have Jonathan Dunn from Lanterns Radio Network. And now, so Crystal has officially joined us on Lanterns. And Madison's isn't going away. They're just going to join us on the battlefield, if you will, within the Lanterns organization to try to bring together a huge, concentrated voice. So with no further ado, I wanted to bring on Crystal. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm excited. This is really, really great. I'm so glad. We've been kind of like working on this behind the scenes, and I've just been so excited, and I haven't been able to come out and officially announce it because we wanted to make sure we had all our ducks in a row. A lot of people involved. There's a lot of contributors on your website, and we wanted to make sure we reached out to all of those great patriots and make sure that they understood what we were doing and that we weren't going to be dissolving Madison's per se, but we were just going to become partners and try to work in an effort that was going to embolden our message. So, so Crystal, I just wanted to explain to the audience out there exactly what the message has been with Madison's and kind of, I guess, how did you arrive to the place that you are now?
Okay, well, we met, a lot of my crew and I met during the early parts of the campaign. And a lot of us were Ted Cruz supporters initially, and we banded together to try to get his message across because we were all pro-Constitution. I mean, that was definitely what was the most important to our group. We began seeing a lot of divides within the Conservative Party very, very early on. And we kind of wanted a way to combat that. Also, what is really kind of near and dear to my heart and has been a really special focus of Madison's is that right now, if you have an interest in pretty much anything outside of politics, you're going to go to a liberal site, a liberal blog, a liberal online magazine to get the information that you want, whether it be on movies or food or travel or fashion. And when you do that, then essentially you are giving that website clicks to make money for it that it will then use to destroy you.
Right.
There's no other way around that. And it's simply because there just aren't any other options out there. And I really wanted Madison's to become that option where we invite writers in that specialize in various fields, not necessarily just politics, although we certainly do, we love our politics and we certainly do have a lot to say in that regard. But we also really just want to make a very well-rounded online magazine where people can find the information that they want about many, many, many things, all the things that they're going to use throughout their life, and do so without having to fund the liberals to do it.
So, folks, I'm just going to give you all a little inside scoop. You see, Crystal is a writer at heart, and she was kind of nervous to get on the radio. Listen to how great she sounds. She is going to be radio, I'm telling you. And the guy that's heading up our radio department, I guess you'd call it, in Lanterns, is a good friend of mine, Jonathan Dunn. And let me tell you, I actually met John through our good friend Andrew Chavarria from The Intersection, and I've been on a couple of radio programs with him, and then I started listening to him. He's got a radio show on The Blaze, and let me tell you what, this guy here has got it together, and he inspires me every day that I talk to him. He's a hard-working guy, and so John, I wanted to bring you on because I want you to kind of give us your, what your background is, and kind of how did you get to the place that you are now to work with Lanterns?
Before we get started, I'd just like to say welcome to Crystal. It's an extra special welcome today since her Cowboys lost to my Giants last night. So I don't know if y'all can see me on Facebook. I'm in honor of Crystal and many of my other friends. I'm wearing a Giants jersey with Eli Manning's number.
I knew it was coming.
I'm wearing on my New York Giants hat. So just look at it this way. I'm reaching across the aisle. If a New York Giants fan and a Dallas Cowboys fan can work together and settle our differences and still work together, you know what? It's the American dream. Anything can happen. On a serious note, now that the fun and the giggles are out the side, this for me is I'm really excited to be involved in this, and I will be forever thankful for you, Chris, giving me this opportunity to side with you, to work with you, to work with Crystal, to work with Heather, with Victoria, and all the great people at Madison's, because this for me is not about me, it's about giving other people opportunity. This is about the country I love. America is an exceptional nation, and it's not exceptional because, of the same way Germany's exceptional or Russia's exceptional. It's exceptional because of several reasons. One, because America is an idea. It's exceptional because of your Constitution, your Bill of Rights, your Declaration of Independence. It's exceptional because of what de Tocqueville said. America is great because Americans are good. For me, I'm so pumped because we have the radio side, which I'm going to be very, very involved in. We've got the writer side. We've got other features coming down the road, which we're going to make everything easy for you to contribute. And this is about giving Americans the opportunity to follow in their own footsteps, where each and every generation of Americans has had an opportunity and had a significant challenge to overcome. Right now, you still have that opportunity and you have that challenge. Whether you want to call it socialism, whether you want to call it Marxism, whether you want to call it progressivism, whether you want to go all the way back to Aristotle and call it statism. Right now, America is more like Ireland, is more like Europe, and more like the rest of the world. I've waited 12 years to get into your country, and I'm still waiting. The last thing I want is to get to an America that is representative of where I've left. That cannot happen. So I'm doing everything I can, and thank you so much for this opportunity, to help Americans turn the tide. Because I've got news for you. If you are a Donald Trump supporter, congratulations, you've won the election. If you're a Republican, congratulations, now you have power in both the House and the Senate yet again. But you alone will not fix America. It'll be down to your people. America is great because Americans are good, and we're going to give every American, whether you've got experience and we'll help you bring you to the next level, or whether you're a newbie. If you're someone sitting at home right now going, I want to help America, I want to get involved, but I don't know how, or I don't have any experience, come to lanterns.buzz, get in touch with us, whether it's writing, whether it's podcasting, whether it's radio, whether it's video. We have a platform for you to get involved and for you to pay it forward and be part of the next great American generation.
So that's great stuff. And Crystal, you and I talked with Lynn the other day, our great friend Lynn, who's got so much immense energy. And one of the things that really struck me when I was talking with Lynn, with you, was that the idea that us as conservatives are individuals, right? We really truly embrace our individuality, and sometimes we do have trouble unifying and coming together and forming what they call it on the left as a collective, joining together and creating a team, because we're very ambitious, we're very industrious, and we all have great ideas, and we go out and pursue our ideas. One of the things that I want to make sure, and Crystal and John and I have talked about this at great lengths, we want to make sure that the people that are coming to Lanterns to work with us to understand that we are working for you. But at the same time, we're working for the American people, and we're working for the supporting of the American dream. And the only way we can do that is to unify and work together. Now, obviously, we're an organization that's going to grow. We're going to start inquiring some expenses. There is going to have to be a business mindset as we go to try to succeed in this very, very big venture. The goal, obviously, is to be a powerhouse in the media, to be able to influence large amounts of people. But we can't do that without you, the contributor. If you're listening to this program and you're a contributor with Madison's, or you're a contributor with Lanterns, or you're a contributor with Conservarican, or the Battlefield live radio program, or you're with Liberty Cannon Media, all of you out there that are contributing, we need you to be able to make this work. And what we're going to do with Lanterns, we're going to work our hardest. And you can ask John and you can ask Crystal, and I can vouch for them, that we have been working very hard, long days, waking up. I wake up sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning and don't get finished till 11, 12 at night. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm utilizing my effort. I'm utilizing the tools in my toolbox, if you will. I'm a tech guy, so building a platform that can allow you, the contributor, to have your voice heard. The bottom line is that the idea of Lanterns is this, is that we all have what it takes to make America great again. But what do we have to do is communicate why America was great in the first place. So I go back to my memories as a child of Paul Revere. And Paul Revere was a guy when I was a kid that I was just fascinated with. Just the idea of this guy riding through the night, going to let all of the great patriots know that the British were coming. And that there was these secret codes that the patriots would go up into the steeples of the churches in the area, specifically around Lexington and Concord, and they would decide, based on where the British were coming, what amount of lanterns they would put up in these steeples. And the idea was to let the patriots know where the enemy was. Well, that's our job as lanterneers, as people that are going to illuminate the light of truth. That's what we're going to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to help build those steeples, right? I'm going to work with Crystal. I'm going to work with John, as well as all the other people that are working with Lanterns behind the scenes. And we're going to do our best to put together as many different outlets for your message. Right now, we have 4, and we're growing. It seems like every single month we get another person that comes on board and says, hey, I want to be a part of Lanterns. If you're listening to this program right now and you want to be one of those steeples, you can join alongside of Madison's, Battlefield Live, Liberty Cannon Media, and Conservarican, Conservarican.com. You can join those groups and become another beacon of light, become another lantern, become another steeple that we can hang our light in. And the bottom line is when we all work together and we come to Lanterns as a community, as a group, and we put that message into that website, that message is going to be blasted across all of these different websites. And as we grow and things get larger and wider, our voice is going to be heard. So this is what I want to do. Crystal, John, hang with me through the break if you don't mind. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, I want to explore this a little more, and we'll talk about some of the great things that are coming to the Lanterns Media Network. You're listening to Chris Pilier from Battlefield Live, Lanterns Media Network, and my special guest, John Dunn, as well as Crystal McCann. We'll be right back after the short break.
Lanterns, illuminating the truth.
So here it comes about nationalism versus Americanism. So people that say that they're a nationalist populace, they don't know what it means. And, of course, there are some that do know what it means. Nationalism is not the same as what America is all about. Okay? Nationalism versus Americanism. This is a nuanced conflict. Nationalism is defined by Merriam-Webster's dictionary as loyalty and devotion to a nation, especially a sense of national consciousness, exalting one nation above all others and placing primary emphasis on promotion of its culture and interest as opposed to those of other nations or supernatural groups. Or supranatural. Supra, not super. Okay? So Americanism is different in that it embodies the principles that create the American culture that is revered. So it's not revering the nation, it's revering the principles. That is the difference.
Das deutsche Volkes! Sie ist ohne Ehre! Sie nennen sich Generale, weil sie Jahre auf Militärakademien zugebracht haben, nur um zu lernen, wie man Messer und Gabel hält! Ja. Hell no! Break yourself, fool! Stop breathing and dedicate to me. Stop dreaming and terminate for me. All meaning you dedicate to me. All feelings you terminate for me.
Hitler contorted the laws of nature and Darwin's theory represented in The Origin of Species to fit his own hatred for the Jews, while Hitler expresses an interest in recognizing the real relevance to nature and the evidence of its laws. He fooled himself and millions of Germans into nudging nature along himself in a way that he exterminated 6 million Jews. So he went against his own principles. Why? Because he operated as a god, or at least he tried to. He believed that he could steer nature. And what ended up happening when man decides that they can steer nature? They kill.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. Battlefield Live.
Battlefield Live, Chris Pilier, Lanterns Radio Network. Folks, make sure, if you haven't yet, go to lanterns.buzz, the website. Check out lanterns.buzz, and you can find our login form there. Make sure you log in. Also, there's 4 websites I want you to check out, and I want you to support as well. Make sure you go to madisonsmedia.com. You can check out Madisons. They are the group that just joined Lanterns. They are helping magnify the light of truth from Lanterns. They are a syndicate of ours. Also, check out conservarican.com. That's Julio Rivera's website. You can check him out. Liberty Canon Media's website, which is Andrew Chavarria from The Intersection, as well as Jonathan Dunn and Taryn in the News. You can also check out my website, Battlefield Live. And there's a lot more to come, folks. We're talking to a lot of people, and there's some great things coming up. And I think that if we continue to simply work very hard and work behind a common set of goals, I think that will truly that truly make the difference. So Crystal, I wanted to talk to you because you mentioned earlier how there was like this. It seemed like there was a rift, and it was a very noticeable rift. And there was like a lot of people that were never Trump, and there was a lot of always Trump people, and there was some that were never Hillary, and there's all these different it seems like there were like factions that created behind these personalities, these politicians. And one of the things that you and I and John, as well as all the other members of Madison's, have talked about on the phone in great detail, is that the principles are really, really what matters. And I think that, in talking with you all, it's apparent that that if we can continue to display that message throughout everything that we do, that I think that we can succeed. So my question to you is this. What is it that you think that we need to do within Lanterns, outside of just contributing, in order to be able to spread this message? What else do you see that we can do in that effort?
Well, I think that there's a lot that we can do. I think that we need to work on uniting people by basically just relating with people about the things that interest them more. And I think that that opens up conversation. It gets people comfortable with you where you can really discuss and get that. Because I think for the most part, everybody kind of wants the same things, but we just don't agree necessarily on how to get things done. And the other thing is I think that we need to put a lot of focus in recruiting for youth and minority groups. Find out what do the millennials want? What are they interested in? And how are we failing? Why are all the millennials joining with the liberals and the progressives? We need to focus on education. That's another really big thing that Madison's works with is trying to empower people who homeschool and people who want to provide lesson plans for their children aside from what they're getting at school. And we need to get better at doing that and making it easier for people that want to homeschool and people that want to supplement what their kids are learning at school, because it isn't necessarily the true history that you and I were taught. And there's a lot of different things that we need to do, but I think really just creating a dialogue where people feel comfortable with one another instead of attacking one another, because that's seriously what led to all the factions to begin with.
You're absolutely right. And, in talking with Victoria and talking with Heather and Cindy, the education part seems to be, it's the resounding concern, because our youth are innocent and they're being prepared for this world that we live in. And it seems to me that the older that I get, at least, and, just becoming the old fart, but the older that I get, I seem to look at our schools and just it amazes me. It just seems that the kids are really just not learning what they need to learn. And so I think you're right in that reaching out and figuring out a way to reach out to different groups of people that have been balkanized by the federal government. I always say that we don't live in a class system. We don't have a caste system here like India does. But yet our federal government, while they support trying to make us all equal, quote unquote, the progressives, they try to eliminate the classes. In order to do this, they create classes and they create division, they create divide. And so one of the things that I've been intimately involved with is radio and doing a lot of radio shows. I think this is actually 412. This is the episode 412.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is pretty amazing that I just think about that every time. I was like, I can't believe I've done that many shows, but I have. But one of the things that, with John and I have been working on alongside of the other members of Lanterns is being able to bring this message together. And so, John, I wanted you to kind of speak to the people out there that maybe are wanting to they have a voice. They want to get out there and speak, but they're just afraid of the technology. They're afraid of, getting out and standing up in front of people and talking maybe, or they just don't maybe know where to get content to talk about their shows. Can you kind of give a little bit of insight about, what we're going to do as a group, the things that you and I have talked about?
Sure thing. We're going to make this as easy as possible from you. There's a lot of experience in our team. This is 412 shows. Wow. I've done podcasts a while. I'm with the Blaze, so there's a lot of experience between ourselves alone, and then there's going to be other people involved. And what we want to do is just to make it as easy as possible for you to help you find resources, to help you get content for your shows, to inspire you to dig deeper. Not just to talk about things on the surface, but to dig deeper, to explain history. Because I think the one thing we have to understand is the culture we live in right now. It's 2016. There is no excuse to be uneducated. It's not like before, like I always share this story when I was growing up, and I'm not that old, I'm only in my 30s, where if you wanted to learn something, you had to go to a library and take out a book, and then you had to go to read another book, and then another book, and another book. You can literally just, if you're totally lazy, if you're on a bus or you're walking somewhere, just get on your iPhone and Google something. You have more power and more information on your phone than Bill Clinton had when he was president. So there is no reason to be uneducated or your head in the sand anymore. It's incredibly easy. But what we want to do is also be behind you 100%, because there are other sites and there are other programs where I've been involved in behind the scenes years ago where you're always left alone. And when you start speaking out, there's you're going to have problems. You're going to have people not reading your stuff, people not listening to you, people insulting you, potentially even getting death threats. Myself and you were just speaking about this last night. It does come, but that you have a support system behind you. We're going to offer you absolutely everything that you need to be successful. All it will take on your part is hard work, dedication, and not giving up. Because everyone has a voice, and it's so simple to make a difference. You shared a story about our vision, the Lantoneers. That is an incredible, inspirational story of how just putting a light in a steeple helped win the Revolutionary War. Now, there might be people thinking, well, it's only a light, what's the big deal? But if that person didn't put the light in and Paul Revere didn't warn them, do you think the Revolutionary War would have been won?
That's a extremely important point, and I think there's a lot of people out there that don't feel like they have the tools or the power to be able to go out there and make a difference. And I can tell you from experience that there's a lot of people that have come to me over the years, and it's the onesies and twosies. The people that come in, and say, "Hey, look, I was listening to your radio show, and you really made me think about things in a different way." And that's the kind of impact that we have to have in small changes. And look, and folks, from a group like Lanterns, we're not just looking for a writer and a podcaster. We're not looking just for a broadcaster or somebody that wants to, just share content on our website. We're looking for people that are wanting to participate in a movement. At this point, a lot of the people that we're working with are, and I would say almost actually all of us are pretty much volunteers. We're not bringing in revenue that we can just pay people. I mean, for the most part, if there's any revenue that comes in, it goes right to the bills. A lot of the work that we've done, and I would say that at least everybody that I've talked to in the Madison's group and Lanterns have come out of their own pockets in order to be able to go and make this thing work. So we're doing this because we have children, or we want to leave a nation for our country. Or a nation that's going to be in a good place for our kids and our progeny, and so if you have any talent out there, let's say you're somebody that likes to use Photoshop and you can make good memes, contact us. We can get you involved. We can get you engaged. We can have you participate. I was talking with Lynn. He is a energetic guy that wants to get out there and he wants to make a difference. So what is his talent? He knows how to connect with people. If you know how to connect with people, we're looking for people like that. If you can do video editing and you want to participate, we're looking for people that can edit video. If you do video instead of doing audio podcast, you want to do video podcast, reach out to us. We'll We'll get you something that you can carry, a torch that you can carry and share that information. One of the things that we're working on behind the scenes, and everything's still on the drawing board, but we're working on some things to be able to provide content for people. There's a lot of people out there that want to do something, but they really may not have 10 years of experience doing podcasts or radio, and they may not have like everything that they need, all the tools in their toolbox. We're putting together information that will be able to help produce your show, your content. Now, the biggest thing is the hard work. The hard work is really what's needed. We all have to work very hard. And I can tell you right now, there's mornings when I wake up and I just kind of like, man, I'm just going to sleep an extra hour. And then all of a sudden, I get excited. And you know what I'm talking about, John. I hear you laughing over there.
Uh-huh.
I get really, really excited about, all the things that are going on. And I think one more hour and I can get this done. I can get this done. I can get this done. And look, John is in Ireland. I mean, when John and I talk, John, what time is it over there right now?
10 to 2 in the morning.
10 to 2 in the morning. This is a guy that is got the passion to be up at this hour because it's that important. So when you all are out there and you're trying to decide what you want to do, think about that. Think about the effort that's going into this. And we need people like you in order to be able to make this happen. And I think that the contributors that I've met, the ones that I'm looking forward to meeting with the Madison's group and the other groups that are coming to us right now and wanting to join the Lanterns team. I'm excited to be able to work for you. I'm excited to be able to give you as many tools as possible to get your voice out to as many people around this country as that we can. And that's our number one goal, is spreading the light of truth. My friend Trey, when we did the Battlefield Live, he and I were on the battlefield, and before the Battlefield Live, it was the battlefield of ideas. Because we realized that we had to get on the battlefield of ideas, and we had to prove to people that our idea was right. And it was about illuminating the truth. Because you can have a huge dark room. I'm a Saints fan, right? So you could be in the Superdome, and the Superdome is a very huge building, and all the lights can be out in there. And you can go out and walk to the 50-yard line, and you can light a small lighter, and you will light up that entire room. And that's what we have to do with lanterns. So we're going to be able to provide you the light. You have to make your light out of that light and share it with others. You have to spark the ingenuity and the excitement from other people in order for them to carry that light forward. So we're going to be like a well of information where people can come and they can get as much as they want and they can bring it out. That's what we have to do. So look, if you're listening to this and you're not somebody that necessarily likes to get out in front of a large group of people and speak, or maybe you don't have the writing skills and you want to participate in some way, share our content. Go and communicate with our content providers. Reach out to me. I'm a human being, blood and flesh, and I talk with everybody. There's a lot of times I listen to the radio, and I don't know if you and Crystal do this. But a lot of times I listen to people on the radio, and I get this like, it's like this barrier, right? And I think about, like, say like a Mark Levin. He's over there in Jersey. I think he's in Jersey he's in Virginia. Yeah. And I think about it, it's like, here's this guy way over there, and he's in this big world of radio. And I think about it and I'm like, he's actually just a guy like me that decided one day that he wanted to do what he's doing now. And so when looking at all the contributors that I've talked to, every one of them has a family, they have special things that they like to do. Reach out to the contributors. If you're just out there listening and you're reading Madison's work or reading Liberty Canon Media or Conservative Recon or listening to my radio program or just going to Lanterns, reach out to those contributors. Communicate with them. Let them know that they're doing a good job, because that will give them more fire in that light that they provide. And we got to continue this energy. We got to continue this going into next year, because holding Donald Trump accountable and holding back the progressive movement is going to be a huge thing. John, you and I talked about something, and we got just a few more minutes here. You and I were talking about something last night. You called me kind of late, and you were like, and late for me, which means really late for you. But you had mentioned something to the effect that you felt like there was this, I don't know, it's like the next step of progressivism could possibly be upon us. And just talking with you, I look at the fact that we have, as far as being a Republican, right? That we have the House and we have the Senate, and there's a president that's a Republican in there. But it just seems like there's this huge movement on the other side, this the progressive movement. And I think that a lot of people look at that movement and they say, oh, they lost, and they lost in a landslide, which is not the case. And I think that if we lay down our arms and we just expect this thing to kind of work its out, that we're going to be in bad shape in 4 or 8 years. And what do you think about that? What do you think about that big progressive movement that's coming through?
I absolutely agree. In the opening segment, you talked about the EPA. Who created the EPA? It wasn't Carter. It wasn't Kennedy. It wasn't Johnson. It was that Democrat, that big government Democrat called Richard Nixon.
Right.
And that's what we have to watch for. The fear I have right now is, and we don't have much time to go into the big details, but I'm seeing the movement in America change to very much like a movement in Europe that I'm very familiar with. Traditionally, the movement in America has been left versus right, even though it isn't really left versus right, but that's the way the media talks about it and will describe it. And the left is big government, statism, socialism, progressivism, and the right has always been the freedom movement, the libertarians, the Tea Party, the Constitutionists, the people who are like, give me liberty, give me death, don't tread on me, those type of people. Right now, it seems to be you're closer to Europe than you are to traditional American values. Because in Europe, the left versus right are the same. Left is communism. Right is fascism. Left is government is the answer and nothing else. And right is government is the answer and nothing else. And the only thing they disagree on is communism versus fascism and which policy we use. But the principle is the same. It's government. And I'm looking at some of the arguments. I'm looking at people. I honestly thought, if you had said to me, John, prior to this election, tell me things that I don't have to explain to the right, that it's just a waste of time because they just get it. One of them would have been free market economics. The amount of people who are friends of mine who are on the right today going, I'm actually thinking tariffs aren't such a bad road. And even when I question them, I say, okay, just show me one time in history where tariffs worked. They can't give me one. But it's this example of, well, we're America, we'll do it better than someone else, and we're exceptional, we'll make it work. Right. Tariffs don't work, but it takes the power away from the individual. Different parts of governments, climate change you were speaking about in your open monologue. I will be for principles. I have spoken about the same thing for the last 8 years that anyone else has. I don't care who it is. If it's George Bush, whether it's, hey, we gotta destroy the free market to save the free market, I'll be the first one to speak out against you. Right. Stimulus package. Just look at the stimulus package. You had George Bush, then you had Obama with $787 billion, and he was evil. He was like, oh my God, it's going to destroy the economy. And I see people on the right now going, well, it's $1 trillion. That's okay, and we need another $1 trillion for childcare.
Right.
That will just bankrupt you. Principles of the right traditionally were Donald Trump, and I'm not bashing Donald Trump, I'm just saying these are principles. Right. You have to understand where you stand for. That, debt is a good thing. Money is cheap today, so of course I'm for debt. At $19 trillion, even if you're for debt, you don't have that option. But at $19 trillion, you should see, how is it anybody with an ounce of traditional American principles can say, even if money was free, I'm going to take out this credit card and I'm going to spend it on whatever I spend it on, and I'm going to pass the bill to my grandkids or my future great-grandkids or future generations, whatever far it is down the line. Even if it's you in 10 years, you mightn't be around in 10 years. You can't have that. That's immoral. And this is what we need to do. We need to define the principles, and we need to unite around those principles.
All right, folks, well, I want to thank y'all for joining us on the Battlefield. That's a great point, John. I want to thank John and Crystal for coming on the Battlefield Live radio program. For all you contributors out there, for Lanterns as well as Madison's and others, we're going to have our conference call at 8:30. Make sure you join us. I want to thank you for joining us on the Battlefield. Check us out, lanterns.buzz. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/lanternsbuzz, as well as you can follow me at Paul Revere again on both Facebook and Twitter. Oh, by the way, follow us on Twitter too. at Lanterns Buzz. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back.